Jeff Woods, who is the Associate General Secretary of the American Baptist Churches, and we are just blessed to have him in the Ohio area. He meets with us once every other month or so. You have a word from him, a word of greeting from him in your folder. I won't read that at this time, but you do have a greeting from Dr. Woods in your folder, and I encourage you to read that. He mentions a little bit about the work that he's been doing with us. But what we have been doing is planning for a smooth transition and preparing for the hiring of a new executive minister. But saints, we can't do that if we don't have money to pay an executive minister. Amen? Amen. Oh, come on and say amen. 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 So this year, this coming up this year, what we are doing through the end of this year, you heard a little bit from the Finance Committee through Reverend Holland. They are preparing to do a capital campaign, and that will be launched sometime early in the new year. We will be using 2013 as a year of preparation, getting ready for whomever God is going to send to help to lead the association. But in the meantime, the joint committees, which is comprised of individuals that you just saw, as well as a number of other individuals that are listed on our website and also in letters that we've sent out to our pastors, led by this president. We are leading the association and helping during the transition period. One of the things that we discussed as a joint committee was getting the input of the senior pastors, So what we did was set up 3 pastor dialogue sessions. We wanted to know what the pastors had to say. We were curious about their concerns. We wanted to hear their suggestions. We wanted to hear what kinds of things they would be looking for in a new executive minister. And so after we had the 3 sessions, we compiled the results from our conversations. And so the upcoming charts, and I'd like to thank Reverend Jay Williams for assisting me with this, the CBA dialogue response chart. So I'm going to ask if people turn to the first chart. The first question that we asked the pastors was, how long has it been since you attended or sent a delegate to attend a CBA annual spring or fall meeting? The largest dark area, the largest orange area represented annually. So we had about 40% of our pastors to respond. And they said annually they either come or send a delegate or delegates to the annual meetings. The other area, the orange, lighter orange, represents 1 year ago, and the blue represents 2 years ago. So we see that there still is an interest in the annual spring and fall meetings. We would like to increase participation from our church, because I said we only had about 40% of our pastors to respond, but this is how they responded to that question. If you click to the next slide. Has your involvement with CBA increased, decreased, or remained the same over the past 5 years? You'll see the orange, or on here it looks like a brownish color, tannish color. That represents increase, and the purple represents stay the same. So the pastors have said that their involvement has either increased or stayed the same. Let's turn to the next chart. Now this chart is very interesting for our purposes. We were asking the question, in January 2013, CBA will begin the search process for hiring our next executive minister. What functions would you deem most important for our next executive minister, and by order of importance? This low level here represents pastoral care and support to CBA pastors, which was a surprise for us on the leadership team, because we've always thought that our pastors wanted an EM to Association as we talked about or worked with the community structures to deal with social justice issues. For example, voter suppression or having difficulty in our schools. Any of the struggles that we might have in the community. We're talking about prison ministry, and so dealing with youth getting in trouble, and what can we do to assist. So they felt that an executive minister, it would be important for that individual to be able to lead. But even that is lower down. This was also striking to our executive council. When we asked the question about the importance of an executive minister being a fundraiser, that was one of the lowest ones, along with pastoral care and support, fundraiser for the region. So as we looked at that, we thought about the fact that possibly there is a disconnect. There is not an understanding of our churches regarding the role of the executive minister and fundraising. But we see an executive minister almost like the president of a university. And if the leader is not raising money, it's difficult for the association to raise money. Amen? But interestingly, the pastors didn't see that connection. Since the Board of Trustees with fiduciary, strategic, and general information, they felt that was important. Develop leadership capacity of the region staffing, they felt that was important. You see the level of importance where they stated it. But what we found most interesting out of all of these things, the pastors who responded felt that reading, scanning, and learning about new opportunities for the region and its mission was the #1 role of an executive minister. So these are the results of our pastor dialogue session. Certainly we are not done with talking with our pastors, but this is just a bird's eye view of what pastors thought. If you turn to the next slide, you'll see these were pretty evenly distributed. These were resources that the pastors say their churches have used through the association, and I'll just read the list of what they are. Churches have used retirement benefits. They felt that fellowship with other churches was important. Ordination council or ABC ordination recognition. Connection with other pastors. Christian education seminars and workshops. Ministers council. The CBA website. Pastoral care and support. Funds for theological education. Together in ministry groups. And then the gray represented other things that pastors may have said they felt was important because through the association relationships. We go to the next slide. This is the final slide. In what areas are you willing to commit to increase your level of involvement with the CBA? The first bar, which you see goes up to 10, pastors said that they are willing to continue to attend annual meetings and or send delegates from their churches. The blue bar, they said they would be willing to volunteer to serve or have delegates to serve on a committee for the association. The purple represents pastors who said they'd be willing to host an event. But the last bar, which was encouraging, they said they were willing to lead their congregation in consistently supporting the mission, vision, and necessary finances for the association. So these are the charts, and these represent the responses we have received from our pastors. But let me say this to you, delegates. The association, the Cleveland Baptist Association, is an association that provides many resources and supports to our churches. We understand that maybe our churches aren't fully aware of the level of support that is offered through the association, but this is just a bird's eye view of what our pastors thought were most important. But we want to say to you, because everybody here is not a pastor, we want to say to you, the delegates, through the association, you can get support with Christian education. If you'd like to have a workshop or seminar, if you would like to have information from national ministries or American Baptist Home Mission Society, you can get that support through the association. If you are a minister and you are in conversation with your pastor about becoming licensed or ordained, and you would like to one day be recognized through the American Baptist churches, through through working with your pastor and the Department of Ministry, those doors can come open. If you are interested in serving in the mission field, or if you're interested in supporting local missions, we have departments to do that. We have great support for pastors through our Ministers' Council. Through the Ministers' Council, pastors have an opportunity to come together to dialogue, associate ministers as well, to dialogue, to encourage one another, to pray with one another, to support one another, and also to receive information about retirement benefits, about clergy understanding how to do their taxes, about planned giving for your churches. There's a wide variety of benefits to having our association. And one of the tragedies is that we don't often appreciate something until it's gone. Amen? Yeah. Now, we don't want to see our association die, do we? No. Oh, that's a mighty weak no. Do you want to see the association die? No. No, we don't want to see the association die. We want to see the association live on. And as we prepare for hiring a new executive minister, we anticipate 2013 being a year of preparation, and prayerfully, if churches give, if we support, if we do the things that we are here today saying we want to do, then our goal is to hire a new executive minister by January of 2014. Amen? Amen. So will you pray with us? Yes. Will you go back and tell your churches about the great things CBA is doing? Amen. And will you get involved? Yes. Amen. Let the church say amen. Amen.